What's going on, y'all? I am so sorry. I was supposed to put this video out like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I don't really know. I've been stuck in a time warp these past couple of weeks, and I don't even know if I've uploaded in a couple of weeks. I literally never do that. So I apologize. I've just been really busy with some other things that I get to talk to you about soon, by the way. This Friday, I'll be able to announce something really exciting that I'm working on with a few friends. It's going to be amazing for the Metazoo community, so I can't wait to talk about it. I think I will release that video for sure Friday, if not Saturday, but it's going to be sick. We're talking website, we're talking tournaments, we're talking deck lists, we're talking interactive. We are talking a lot of things, and I will talk more about it later this week. But for this video, we're going to be talking about Easton Evans' second place water deck profile. And the reason why I'm doing this little intro is because Easton actually forgot his deck for the deck profile. So I'll be doing the deck profile myself, but I also have the interview with him that I will be posting later in the video, explaining his choices and basically everything that went down at the TCG Pro Support Tournament in Fort Worth. But let's get into it and let's talk about that deck profile. So let's go. Alright, so let's start with the main deck. We will go to the side deck afterwards. So, of course, we are starting off with 2 bookmarks. This is super standard for any deck. I don't know why you wouldn't be playing this. It just lets you draw 2 cards, basically. And, of course, we have 2 Born from the Earth. There's a couple tears that you want to search in this deck, so playing a couple of these is really great, especially since you're only playing, I believe, one of each. You're playing Lake and you are playing River. So this is a great card to let you search it out. And then if you have like Water Baby in your hand, you can play it for free. If it gets the Terra bonus, off the top of my head, I don't remember if Water Baby gets a bonus from Lake or River. I would imagine at least one of them. Then of course we got 2 Chessie. Chessie is Big Boss Swinging. Okay, so it gets plus 10 damage for every water card on the field, and that counts auras, obviously. So this card gets really huge, and then when Lake is out, it also gets 50 damage. So there's a really cool combo that you can do even with the Octopus that I'll be showing later. But this card is really good, and the reason why I'm going in this order is because this is just the order of the deck list that's on the drive. So I'll drop that in the link below. I think it would also have the 1st place, 3rd place, and 4th place deck profile that you can check out. And then I think if I can find the actual video, I'll even drop that in the link below of the finals match that actually happened at the Pro Support TCG weekend. But Chessie is such a beast. It's only a 4-drop, and you can play 4 in your deck, but you know, obviously 2 is a little bit more ideal. So yeah, this card's really good. It really pairs well, especially when you have a ton of cards out late game. So Chessie just swings huge, and then of course pairing it with Lightning in a Bottle definitely can be a 1-turn kill. So there's a lot of different things you can do with that. And then you play 3 Dampens. Dampen is a problem. I'm playing a version of the water deck myself. It's a lot different than this one, but this card really just is so good for so many reasons. There's some cards that cannot block it, like you cannot block a Flood the Earth, or I guess you can't negate it or whatever. We're not talking Yu-Gi-Oh terms, but yeah. So this card definitely says target spell does not resolve effects and traits. So basically for anything except Flood the Earth, you can basically stop it, and you play this on your opponent's turn. Doesn't really matter. This card is insane, and yeah, I wish you could play 4, but this card is so good, so 3 is just as good. I mainly play it for board wipes, basically. So off the top of my head, I don't really remember what it was called, but the board wipe in the light deck, which is a problem. Retribution, I don't think that's it, but even in the dark deck, they have the Zombie Apocalypse card, so obviously I would want to use that on that. And then there's big spells too. You can negate their power up red. You can negate when they play New Year, New Beginnings, or New Beginnings, whichever version they have. So this card honestly just has unlimited things you can do with it to really annoy your opponent. And then we are playing 2 Flood the Earth. This card is this card's dumb, honestly. This card's too good. It's a board wipe. It cannot target beasties that are flying though, so that's the only drawback, but I'll talk more about that later, how you can solve that issue. It's really not that big a deal. Especially because you're only going to want to play this, you know, at opportune moments. You don't want to just drop this And this card says you can only play it once per match, but I'm pretty sure you can also play it if you're controlling a Frogman, because Frogman technically can cast his own spells. So I'm pretty sure that that's a legal play there. I haven't really followed up on it, but I've been told that more than a few times. So you can play 2 in your deck. You personally as a caster can only play this once per game. But like I said, I believe Frogman can also play this. And it's a board wipe, but it does not affect water beasties, which is insane. So it basically just drowns all your opponent's cards. They go bye-bye and yours stay there. 1 lake. There's a lot of different Terra bonuses with this in this deck, but the main one is Chessie gets plus 50. And I think the Octopus gets plus 20, I think. And 5 lightning in a bottle. There's a lot of different things that you can pair with this. Mainly want to save it for Frogman and Chessie, because Frogman is, I think that's coming up here soon. Actually, yeah, it's the next 2 cards, but Frogman is literally, I don't know, top 3 best cards in the game. It's just ridiculous. And paired with lightning in a bottle is a huge problem. But like I said, also Chessie, when it's super powered up and you have lightning in a bottle, that's just a really good thing too, especially if you're just trying to end the game. And people forget, okay, read your cards. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! When you awaken your beastie, right, this has nothing to do with Frogman, but in general, when you awaken your beastie, this gains first strike, okay? So if you're going against a Quetz or something with first strike, you have to flip for it, flip a coin. But in general, you're going to be getting first strike, so it's just insane. People forget that. And of course, maybe the star of the show. I mean, probably definitely the star of the show, but Frogman is too good. Frogman is such a problem, honestly. It has, I forgot what this symbol is called, but it can't be targeted by spells. And one thing to note, I've been told this a few times also, so I would like you to confirm if you have a different opinion, but spells that do not target can take care of Frogman. So the board wipes that don't target a specific beastie would be able to clear out Frogman and stuff like that. So if you agree with that, let me know down in the comments below. It makes sense to me, but also I'm just like, it makes me just think of Yu-Gi-Oh! Too much at that point when you're talking about targeting and non-targeting. So I don't know what the answer is there, but supposedly if they're playing a board wipe, like I'm just gonna say Retribution or Zombie Apocalypse, that this would also be wiped off the field. So let me know if you agree. But this card's crazy. It basically gives whatever it's targeting one of every attribute. So it poisons it, paralyzes it, sleeps it, you know, the whole 9 yards, burns it. But the only thing that really is going to take damage is the poison. And it's basically just going to sleep for the rest of the game unless you do combat damage to it. And one thing to note also is combat damage done to a sleeping beastie is doubled. So, or not just combat damage, but damage in general. So, you know, if you're playing lightning and you want to wake up a sleeping beastie, you can hit it with a lightning bolt, but it will be taking 50 damage. But yeah, Frogman, people get so sick to their stomach whenever Frogman comes out, and it's really good, especially if you can protect it with the Smoky Spirits, obviously, or protect it with the crabs. And this was the Oklahoma Octopus. So this card is really cool. It's really good on its own, but if you want to do the cool combo with Chessie, you can actually, whenever you contract this, send this to the afterlife and it turns into 8 water tokens. Yeah, they have 10 life points and 10 damage, and they come out awakened, which is really cool. They come out with fleet. So that would just give Chessie an extra 80 an extra 80 attack, which is insane. But this also heals itself 20 life points every turn, and it also comes out with fleet, so it comes out ready to go. Has 50 damage. It does poison for 3 turns, or I guess 3 stacks. And yeah, the late gives it 20. So if you decide not to do the token thing, it's still a good card on its own. But in general, like, you want to kind of play this with the Chessie and make Chessie even more annoying than it already is. Of course, Power Up Red. I used to have the hollow one, but I traded it for 2 first anniversary celebrations. Still don't regret that. Those cards are amazing, and I knew that this was going to come out within the next week or 2, and it definitely did. Definitely missed the hollow, but doesn't matter. Does the same thing. Play a river for a River of Time, and actually... yeah, here we go. River of Time's insane. If River is out, this only costs 1 aura to activate, which is dope. If not, it takes 5. But it basically just skips your next opponent's turn and it just goes back to your turn. So this is another card that you can use to OTK if you want, or if you're really trying to, like, you know, regain control of the game because you're drawing extra cards with Frogman on the field. There's just a lot of different advantages that you could use this card for. And yeah, there's a reason why you can only play one of this in your deck. It's just insane. There's just too many things that you can do with it. I think 4 Smoky Spirits basically just protects a beastie from battle. If you only control 1 beastie or artifact, let's see, yep, 1 beastie or 1 artifact, you can play this from your hand and it basically ends their whole combat turn, which is really good. So if you're just trying to draw cards and you have 1 Frogman out there but you have like a couple of these in your hand, you'll be fine. Or, you know, for anything you're trying to protect. Another MVP of this deck for sure, as Easton calls it, Mr. Krabs. This card's really insane. It can't be damaged by spells. It heals 10 life points every turn. And then the main annoyance about this card is it only takes half combat damage. So if you want to swing and kill this with 1 hit, you have to hit it for 110. That's all in the text edit here, and then it's going to swing back for 40, and it also has the chance to paralyze your opponent. So this card is such an issue. Another card that I wish maybe you could have 6 of, but I think it would just be too overpowered. But this card is insane. You can play 4 of them. It's a 3-drop, but one of them's colorless, which is really nice. And yeah, this card is sick. Nothing more to say about that. I believe 11 water auras. Yep. And 3 little water babies. These cards are surprisingly really good. Even if they get destroyed, you get to draw a card, which is dope. But they do 30 damage and they paralyze. They obviously have Terra bonuses, but this card's really dope. So that's it for the main deck. Let's go into the side deck. And obviously I know why he was playing these. 4 absorb auras. The main issue right now is lightning. Quetz is just so insane, so this just stops them from popping off in the first couple turns because they have lightning glass out. I don't really see anybody play Chaos Crystal anymore, for it, just not even for this reason, but just because you can beat over it so easily. But the lightning glass have 50 life points, so this just basically gets rid of any artifact with a 0 cost, and you get to bookmark a card and whatever you destroyed. So if you destroy a lightning glass, you get a lightning aura for that turn. This card is really good, man. This card is really, really, really good. So I know for myself, for a lot of 1-drop cards that I have in decks, or that I have decks built around 1-drops, I don't even play artifacts. So there's a reason why this is side decked. But going against lightning, I think even moving forward, they're still playing lightning glass. So this card's really important. 1 Beast of Busco. This card's kind of silly, but it's actually really good. It has this effect to where its power, it's not when it's contracted, so its power is basically used the same as an attack would be. It would have to be awakened and you would have to fatigue it to use its power. But I believe it says put your your palm at the top of the page. So you put your palm at the top of the page, and whatever you're touching on the other side is going to take 50 damage. And I think whatever of your own cards, non-aura cards that you're touching, go to the afterlife. So pretty cool card. I'm sure, I don't know which card he would cut because he really wanted to play 2 of these. This is the 1st anniversary celebration card I told you about. Another card that's just top 5, top 4 best cards in the game. This card's ridiculous. Takes all traits away from all beasties until the end of your next turn. So he was only able to get his hands on 1, but ideally he was trying to play 2. You know, for bigger tournaments, you write your deck list down and that's it. So once you were in top 8 in this tournament, whatever you wrote down is whatever you were rolling with. So he managed to get his hands on 1, so I guess 1's better than 0, but 2, man. And this is the card I said paired with Flood the Earth is insane. If you're playing an opponent with all flying beasties, you just hit them with this. They lose all their flying traits and then they go bye-bye with Flood the Earth. It's insane. He's playing 3 Reflection. If you don't know what Reflection is, I think you have to have a mirror in the arena, or you know, write it down. For tournaments, you write down 4th wall effects that are legal for that tournament, and basically the spell goes to the afterlife, and then this becomes that spell and you can redirect it to another target. Another Smoky Spirits, 3 torrential rivers. I think he was doing this for the mirror match. And 2 unlucky potions. So this card's really good, especially for lightning. I feel like we talk about lightning a lot, but hey, it's the most consistent deck. It's probably gonna win 8 times out of 10. It's just really good. So if you can hit them with the unlucky potion and stop them from paralyzing something that's really important to you, it's really dope. So yeah, that is the main deck and the side deck. So now we're gonna get into the interview with Easton. I'm kind of all sporadic right now, so thanks for being patient with me. This deck's really good. Like I said, I play a different version of it that's really fun. So yeah, let's get into that other video. Alright, what's going on, y'all? Like I said, we have Easton Evans here. He got second place in the Pro Support TCG weekend tournament last weekend, and we are going to go over his deck and his deck profile today. So without further ado, that's all you, man.
Okay. Well, I played a mono water control deck that kind of focused Loveland Frogman's abilities and kind of created card advantage based off of really Loveland Frogman. Arguably one of the better cards in the format. I put it probably like 2 or 3 behind Quetz and Gumbaroo, but it is a really strong card and really versatile. Although it can't attack, its power to basically inflict any card with sleep, paralysis, and all the effect types basically makes it a one-man wrecking crew. Pairing that with lightning in a bottle and getting additional card advantage through the Lake Wallow crustacean. I call him Mr. Krabs, but it's my favorite. It's really what kind of spurred me into playing water decks, because I just liked the card and it was like, let's just try to build stuff around. Once you kind of freeze out their board, and get some sort of advantage with the Water Baby and Mr. Krabs, then you can kind of finish them off with some of your beaters, so your Chessies and your Oklahoma Octopus, just to finish them off and basically kind of like control the matchup, have them exhaust all their resources, and then come through at the very end. It's very resilient, so you can go down to the lowest I've gone down to is 50 LP and been able to make a full recovery and come back and still win the match.
But I've seen it.
It's a really resilient deck. You let it have its time. You play it patiently, and things will kind of work its way out.
So what are some things you learned from this tournament? So this is kind of like our second official tournament at this point, because I know you had a boo-boo, you had a hiccup in the finals.
Yes.
Or not even in the finals, the top 8 actually.
Yeah, the top 8, the strategy changed completely. I made the mistake of not writing my fourth wall effects on the deck list, just in the paper. So I didn't. The most important thing that you must do for the water deck is write down water for Loveland Frogman, because if you don't, he can't exhaust it or fatigue himself to use his ability, and you have to have water. So basically I was playing Frogman without any abilities, and it kind of sucked in the beginning, but we had to change the strategy and turn it into more of a more of an aggro deck, so playing off of Frogman just to get the card advantage, and then finishing them off with Chessie to kind of clear off their board. River of Time is extremely good. It allows you to take another turn. Any card that allows you, in any card game that allows you to take another turn, is really good. Flood the Earth is really good as well, but a lot of it is timing. I think a lot of people are going to jump to try to play water decks and control-based decks without understanding the utilization of their cards and making sure that they ultimately don't exhaust all their resources, like using dampens early on things that you don't need to, or using lightning in a bottles or smoky spirits on attacks that you could actually end up surviving. I think that's going to be a learning gap with this kind of deck. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because once you were in the top 8, you weren't able to write down the fourth walls, and you basically had to play 3 more matches without Loveland Frog, basically.
Yeah, and it taught me that Loveland really makes the deck go. Some of the trades and some of the interactions that would be simply like, oh, exhaust this, I'll fatigue your beastie, or exhaust this and exhaust and then fatigue your beastie, or lightning in a bottle, do it again, and kind of like lock down your board. The matchups became a lot tougher. Just being candid about it, but it was a really good eye-opening experience to see the capabilities. This was a version 1, so I think that I'll improve on it and improve the deck list and kind of optimize it a little bit more, as well as maybe drop the cards down, the number of cards down. I think I was playing 43 or 45, but getting a little bit closer to 40, I think it'll speed up and be a little bit more consistent with the aura draws.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have a deck list on you?
No, I don't, but I
Yeah.
think it's posted onto the Metazoo website. I think it was 4 Crustacean, 4 of the Mr. Crabs, 3 of the Water Baby, 2 Loveland, 2 Chessie, 1 Oklahoma Octopus, 3 Dampen, 4 Smoky Spear or 5 Smoky Spears, 5 Lightning in a Bottle, 1 River of Time, 2 Flood the Earth, 2 Bookmarks, and Power Up Red, and then the aura is the I think I played 11 water aura, and I do believe that was it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, you wanted to play one more Chessie, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, this was just like this was as best as you could do with what you had at the
Yeah.
moment, right?
Yeah, ideally I was thinking that I was going to be able to get a theme deck and then kind of like just put in the Chessies
That's
and
what
the main
everybody was hoping for, right?
Yeah. But you know, when things happen, when adversity and kind of like things don't go as planned, we kind of just pivot. So we changed the deck list around, optimized it to the best of our abilities. And Oklahoma Octopus is a really good card just because it can't be targeted while it's awakened, so you can attack it, but it's a great blocker. While you have Lake out, it gets plus 20, so 20 LP, 20 damage,
Yeah.
heals 20 health, and it's really, really good. Chessie is probably the MVP. You draw a card, you bookmark a card, you get plus 10 for every water aura or water page on the field, as well as if Lake is on the is active tier, you get an additional 50 damage, which is kind of nuts. But I think that is a really strong deck. It's really consistent, and it's only going to get better. But I think the beauty of it is how you pilot it, because I know a lot of people are going to go crazy and try to use a lot of resources way too early, way too soon, and it's going to cost him a lot in the later games when you have these such tough matchups against Quets, Tribal Beasties, and Tribal Boost, Fearsome Critters, and Dark decks that are going to be kind of around the corner.
Yeah, because you're gonna have to really understand your opponent, and you need to understand like the proper time to do things, because you don't want to be getting rid of like small problems and then running into big problems later and not having an answer to it.
Exactly. I think with like dark decks, just for example, Death Beam can't target your Loveland, so it could target your other creatures. So noticing like, okay, how many Death Beams are being used, and also acknowledging like they have a card like Zombie Apocalypse that can get rid of your Frogman. So it'd probably be more advantageous to save your Dampens and leave the aura open to counter the Zombie Apocalypse rather than the Death Beam.
Yeah, and I'll probably leave. I think they posted the actual match. I just need to find it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll post a link in the description box below. But was it game 1 that you played 4 Lightning in a Bottles?
I think no, it was game 2.
Game two.
Game 2.
Because with Quets, you don't want to see Quets turn 2. You don't want to see it turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you see those artifacts out there, and that's what you used them on.
Yeah, I had to clear the board because as soon as Quest ramps up and you're getting a ding bell with 5 or 6 tokens on it, and every attack they're creating 6 tokens, it's nuts. So you have to get rid of the board, and that's what I made the game a scrappier one, and gave myself a little bit more of an opportunity to come back, or at least like be competitive by killing off the board rather than saving them for another time. If in a perfect world I'd use Frogman and then just Lightning in a Bottle and freeze out the board, but he didn't have his ability, so I decided to kind of change my strategy to clear off the board with artifacts and some of the aura sinks that he may have, and then hopefully put myself in a better spot for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I felt like like somebody's like pairing out there. I was watching you on the sideline and I was just like, dude, like, I mean, the fact that you were able to beat through 3 games without Loveland was pretty awesome, considering that you built your deck behind that in Mr. Krabs. But I mean, it was resilient, man. Like, that should show how good the deck is. Even without Loveland, you're able just to grind really hard.
Yeah.
And like, I understand. I think it was said that your opponent had a really good follow up when y'all got timed out of game 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, who knows what would have happened? I mean, time's an issue. Maybe in game 1 you could have scooped a little bit earlier.
Probably.
But in the moment, with your capabilities of your deck, who knows? You could have came back that time too. So you just rolled the dice, and sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you want it to.
Right. I think the biggest thing with the deck is resilient. Like, you can piece some combos together. You can River of Time. You can get some advantage with Mr. Krabs and destroying things, and you can kind of maneuver and work your way back into it. I do think one of my biggest mistakes, along with not writing down the fourth wall effects, was staying in game 1 a little too long, just because there was nothing I could get out of it. Like, I just was playing through and just making sure that I did everything I needed to do. But going forward, I've learned to, 1, put your fourth wall effects down on your deck list, and 2, it's okay to scoop. Like, if the game is out of hand, if you don't have any more bombs or any more creatures that can really kind of change the scenario and in your game for you, just scoop, because time is of the essence, and being able to maximize your ability to implement your strategy is important, and the only way you can do that is while you're playing, and it probably helps just to move on to the next game.
Yeah, it's not like you're quitting. You're actually being smart, because you can see, because
Right.
you want to stay, like, you want to stay steps ahead, and you can
Right.
see yourself like not really pulling it out.
Right.
And it's just like, sometimes you just got to call it and move on to the next game. And you
Yeah.
did great game 2.
Yeah.
And, with the hand you were dealt in game 3, you were still hanging in there. And like I
Yeah.
said, who knows what would have happened.
Right.
But it was a really fun weekend, man.
Yeah, really fun weekend, really great event. The team did well. Overall, I was ecstatic that the event went rather smoothly. Kevin and the team, and Ted and
Kevin killed it, man.
Yeah, they only had like 2 metazoologists on there, and they were running multiple events, and they were doing just a really good job of, 1, hosting it, but 2, making sure the judging and things were kind of on the up and up, and making sure players knew rulings, and also there was a lot of learn to play events on the side. So I'm just looking forward to the growth that Metazoo is showcasing, and I'm excited and ecstatic about where the next tournament and opportunities going forward.
Yeah, 2022 is going to be crazy.
Crazy.
Well, is there anything you want to say or shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the staff at Metazoo and everybody that put the convention, the tournament together. Shout out to you, Sean, for doing all the work that you're doing behind the scenes to kind of help Metazoo grow and build it up, and as far as like providing content, because people need that right now. It's at the beginning, and it's super important. Shout out to Dom and the team and Nat and everybody, just because like we wouldn't have, especially in our area in Austin, we wouldn't have what we have without the team at Game Castle Play Packets. All the people, the players in the surrounding area, and all the players around the world. So huge shout out to you all. Let's just keep building, keep pushing, and keep driving the meta in the game and the Metazoo culture forward.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks, man. Thank you so much for talking about your deck. I will probably end up posting your deck profile for you, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I know it's only 1.0, so I'm excited to see what's coming next, and we can really get started.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.